Welcome back, Skidmore Family Farm friends. As you can see, the skid steer, front loader, whatever you want to call it, skid loader, has been stuck for numerous days. I'm using the tractor to tote the rocks back and forth. It's kind of a pain because you can't just plow into the rocks with the tractor like you can the skid steer. I mean, you can't go flying into it with the skid steer, but you can use a little bit more force. It's more heavy duty and made for loading rocks and gravel more so than a farm tractor. But we're still loading rocks, and it's going kind of slower than it did with the track loader. But as you can see, I've got one, I don't know if you can see with the glare or not, I've got one large rock on the front of it, probably about 3 or 4 feet wide, and I'm getting these from back at the cabin site. Cabin's way back over there. When I dug out the channel that the creek flows out of the mountain, there was lots of large rocks that I dug up with the excavator. Well, last week, before the excavator went back, I kind of smoothed the piles out, dug it up, and separated the rock from the clay and soil. But now I'm using those rocks to take over to the culvert pipes, which we kind of had to abandon the process on that since the excavator went back, and we just weren't having any luck placing the tiles, or the culvert pipes, drainage tiles, whatever you want to call them, in the creek. So I have a excavation crew coming out tomorrow to finish up the culvert pipe and get both of the pipes in place and hopefully covered up, at least with a good layer on top, and you place these rocks that I'm taking back and forth in the compactable gravel on the sides and down the middle and all that, so it doesn't wash out, and the large rock should hold the small crushed rock in place. As long as we don't have any really heavy rains, it should stay in place even throughout the spring and the rest of the heavy rains. And depending on how good it is, as far as the layer across the top, we may be able to start hopefully can start taking the tractors back and forth across the culvert pipes and order more gravel to finish or proceed on the driveway. It just kind of depends on the rain, and right now the ground is semi-frozen, so I can easily maneuver the tractor around without tearing up the soil and making huge ruts or getting the tractors or equipment stuck, which just creates a whole nother problem in itself. But I'll go over here and show you where I'm dumping the rocks and what we've been working on. I took a couple days off over the 3-day weekend for Martin Luther King Day yesterday just to rest. I was working 16 and 18-hour days, just trying to keep momentum going on everything. I mean, it was slow going because we didn't have the heavy equipment, but it was one of those things where you just kind of have to keep going, and whether it's slow or fast or you're getting stuck or whatever. Let's head over here to the rock pile that I've started, and I'll show you what's going on, and we'll get out and take a look. I didn't really want to use my tractor or even borrow Ryan's tractor to really lift these heavy rocks. I mean, they'll do it, but It's a risk of breaking something, flipping the machine over. I mean, who knows? These are top-heavy machines. They have a very high center of gravity, so getting on inclines with heavy loads in the bucket isn't the safest or the most recommended thing to do with the tractor. But as you can see, I've got a pile in front of me. I'll scoot up a little bit and dump this out, and then we'll get out and you can check things out. But you can see how large that rock was I just dumped. I'm sure it weighs over 1,000 pounds, I would guess. We'll back up and we'll hop out and look. Go ahead and turn the tractor off so we're not yelling over the noise of it. As you can see, we got ice in the puddles. But the problem was, with the wet soil and things not compacting down like they should, the culvert pipe, the farthest one, kept rolling up as we would pack this side, and I thought I had the other side packed enough, and then it just kept pushing its way out. And now that it's frozen, it looks like it's pushed it up even more, and you got the water running completely underneath of it. When I started it, I had water going through both culvert pipes. It was looking pretty positive at that point. And then, like I said, it just, I think some of this on this far slide was sliding in some with the amount of rain that we had. And then the pushing of these rocks over here basically just scooted that one up, and then you have the ground freezing and all that, which when the ground freezes, it heaves the soil, and like a foundation of a house, everything kind of shifts depending on how hard of a freeze you have and how much moisture's in the ground. But let's get over here and I can show you what I was doing before the skid steer got stuck. This right here is basically a wall. So as the water is coming downstream, when we get high waters, it'll hit these rocks and go around and go into the culvert pipes. That was the one upside, I guess, to this part of it, as I did get this part complete. And once he sets the culvert pipes, this should be a good foundation for keeping the water from going around the culvert pipes, and it will funnel it in to these culvert pipes. And as you can see, no water going in them. It's all going under. The pile that I just dropped with the tractor is probably going to go on this side. I've got some large rocks, but this far side, this side over here that the tractor's on, has quite a few large rocks in it. I'm not sure, once the excavation crew gets here tomorrow, they may want to take it all out and just start over, which is fine with me. They know what they're doing. They may leave this farthest one from us in, since it's got all the soil or the compactable rock and large rocks up against it. They might just pull this one that's closest to us out and then throw rock in the middle of it, and then come back and dig this area out so the pipe sits farther in. And once they get to that point, I would assume they'll start filling the middle and get something on top of it to hold it in place. But that's why I'm piling those rocks up over there, so they can have something to work with. Hopefully I can get enough loaded up there. But One of the downs or the upsides of digging this driveway out the way that we did, I exposed the rock over here, and now that it's frozen, we have huge icicles coming down off the rock where the water drips out slowly, seeps out of the hillside. Thought that made for somewhat of a positive aspect of all this chaos that we keep having. But we can walk up here and you can see the excavation work that I did, which the rough end part of this is pretty much done. We've got gravel in a lot of this, which doesn't look like it, but I can already see from looking up there, since we've had rain, a lot of the mud has washed back underneath the gravel instead of it all being on top. Get over here and see if you can, yeah, you can see the little rock sticking up. And when we were driving over this last week, it was pretty much just all mud. I mean, it'll get another layer at some point, but I was glad to see that it didn't wash out or just continue to sink into the mud. All the little white spots through here, that's all gravel. So it does have a good base to it. This is solid here. Up around the corner is where it was soft. That part of this portion of the driveway, as far as going to the road, is going to be the most problematic. Even once we get gravel on it, it's on an incline. Anytime you have an incline and you have rock, you're going to have either washout or holding water in the soil, and wash, like I said, if it's holding water, it's either going to sink and make ruts, or there's going to be some sort of issue, which is pretty much a given on just about all driveways that have a soil base under them that have gravel on top. At some point it may stay good for a couple of years, but if it's not maintained, or big torrential rainstorms come in for days on end, you're almost always going to have some sort of washout or rutting or something. But as you can see, the front loader, skid steer, whatever is down there, I tried using the tractors to pull it out using a snatch block, which is basically a pulley with a hook on the end, and use a chain. I tried tying it around a tree to use it as like a pivot point as I pulled, to try to pull it out of the hole. That didn't work. I tried pulling it more towards the end of the creek. That didn't work. But the excavator or excavation crew that's coming out said he didn't think he'd have any problem. I'm sure if we still had the excavator here too, we could have done it, but this big rock's pretty cool here. We'll clean that top part of it off in the spring so it's a little bit more exposed, and maybe plant some flowers that'll come up every year around it or something. Just kind of accent it instead of leaving it all covered up, and the moss is kind of cool on it, but all the leaf debris and all that, we'll clean that off of it. And as you can see, we've got lots of stuff to clean up. There's tires and pieces of trash and litter that people have thrown out as they drive down the road, which is one of the downsides to living on a road that has some traffic on it. But I think that's going to wrap us up. I'm going to sign off, but I'm going to add a clip maybe after this, or you'll see the big rock pile that's down. Somebody driving by, I don't know who that was, but Down by the cabin site, I have a huge rock that's standing up on edge. It's about 8 feet in diameter. It's pretty cool that I could get it to stand up on end. I'll try and get that included into this video, so I may add that at the beginning or something. I'm not sure. But we're still trying to move forward. It was 22 degrees, I think, when I got up this morning, and I waited until the sun started to pop out around 11 or so. It was very overcast this morning, so it'd warm up some. Now I just got a sweatshirt and a t-shirt on under that, but we'll go ahead and sign off. If you haven't subscribed to Skidmore Family Farm, please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up to like our videos. Hit the notification bell to get all our notifications and latest videos. Thanks and have a great day. This gives you a little comparison from the tractor size to the size of the large rock that I was telling you about that I stood on end. And you can see the large rocks like right in here. That's what I've been unloading up by the culvert pipe. So that rock standing up there is by far a lot larger than the rest of them. And that's all, looks like it's going to be a dark gray slate once it's cleaned off. But that might be something in the summertime. I can split it. If you look at the, I don't know if you can see on the top edge, there's like layers of it. And that's how you can separate it. You pick a seam, depending on how thick you want the rock or the piece of slate, and you start to chisel down that seam and it will separate. You can see down here all these little chipped pieces, like right in here. Those are all pieces of slate that have chipped off the larger pieces. But just wanted to show you that. As you can see, it's about 8 feet wide, 8 feet tall, somewhere in there. Thanks and have a great day.